he showed up. I know. Sorry. This has just been like abuse of you this hour, Jesse. It's very wrong of me. He showed up in court the other day to see whether he'd have bail or not. He's in his little light cream suit with his light cream shirt collarless underneath it. He walks in. The mayor of LA is there, Karen Bass, waiting for him. She showed up. Solidarity. He reportedly blew her a kiss. She reportedly winked at him, his big supporter. He did not have to pay any bail. He didn't have to enter a plea yet. The prosecution wanted his travel limited to Minneapolis and New York, where he lives. The judge said absolutely not. No limitations whatsoever. Does not have to surrender his passport because he has a pre-existing trip that he takes every year, Jesse, to France, and he doesn't want to miss his annual vacation. So he's allowed to go to Paris, France in his white suit, maybe with his BFF Karen and the other Karen to whom he's married, which is a white man, which is shocking because he really fucking hates white men, except for this one. And getting treated just like any other felon. Any other accused felon, Jesse, I'm sure would have gotten the same thing. And not to mention black man, right? Black men in America. Aren't we told by the Don Lemons of the world that they can't catch a fair shake, that the system's stacked, that this is why we need to abolish prisons? Seems pretty good to be a black man named Don Lemon in the system's care. And Don Lemon is very much enjoying his 2 minutes of relevance and talking reflectively about what it is that makes him so special. Here he is from his own Friday night show in SOT 12.
We were always taught when I worked in corporate media that the news is a star. That's bullshit. If the news was a star, everybody would have the same ratings. And everybody doesn't have the same ratings. The journalists are the stars. The people who are delivering the news, those are the stars. And the people who do well, they get the ratings and they get the respect. So it is, and actually having come from that, now I understand that what my star quality is, that is being honest and authentic and telling the truth.
He's wearing a shirt like he always does. This says something about himself. Lemon Live, Lemon Head, whatever. That's what makes him special. His star qualities are honesty and authenticity, Jesse, which is why he hosted the biggest loser of a show on CNN for years. The only reason they kept him is because, as he reminded them, he was black and gay. His ratings always sucked. Trust me, I was there. We had about 20 times his numbers over on Fox, and that's in the 10 o'clock hour, which is not as prestigious or competitive as the 9 o'clock hour or the 8 o'clock hour. He was already relegated to 10. He could not bring it home. He always sucked. It was middling at best. But now he wants you to know he was a star who drove the news thanks to not just his authenticity, but his honesty, Jesse Kelly, his honesty.
Well, he's getting famous with no talent. And Megyn, you obviously have a much more illustrious TV career than I could ever have. But I will tell people this about television, because they may not know this. The Megyn Kelly Show has to be good every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes. You know, you have to be good the whole show. You can't punt on any part of it. Not that you can punt on television, but in television, A block, the opening of the show, your monologue, is by far the most important part. And I mean by a mile the most important part. That's why any news show you watch, generally, if the host is any good, they will monologue in the A block. The biggest indictment of Don Lemon's talent or lack thereof is Don Lemon used to have Chris Cuomo stay over after his show to do the monologue with him. That may mean nothing to someone who doesn't understand television. I am telling you right now, that is essentially giving your television host a handicap sticker because they cannot do the most important thing they have to do. That is how talentless and lost Don Lemon is. He hung on as long as he possibly could. As you said, because he's black and gay, that's two critically important boxes you have to check if you're a company like CNN. And now he finally gets arrested and he gets to play the martyr. And of course, some kooky commie judge is going to let him go off to France where he can blow kisses at everybody. And nobody's surprised that Don Lemon is into light cream. Either way, Don Lemon's going to get out of this whole thing scot-free. The only good news with this whole thing is it's going to cost him $1 million in legal fees, and that in and of itself is something. I don't want to blackpill everybody. Yes, he's probably going to end up skating on the whole thing, but $1 million is not chump change, and having to go to court, having to go through trial, having to know there's a possibility that you need soap on the rope for the next 5 years is enough mental anguish to punish him at least in some way. So it's something. It's not nothing. I'm glad we went out and arrested him, because just because you have a TV camera doesn't mean you get to engage in acts of terrorism against people worshiping Jesus. But maybe we should all be happy Don Lemon finally went to church.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, good point. I've been thinking about this because it's absolutely the case that the arrest has made him more relevant than he's ever been. I mean, that's not saying much. He was never relevant, but at least it put him in the news in a way that's, I'm sure, exciting for Don. But that's not the point, because people say, oh, it's just going to like make him a martyr. That's not the point. He broke the law. He committed multiple felonies. And why shouldn't he be held to account? Why do old ladies who show up at abortion clinics to pray have to go through this process and get charged with felonies by Joe Biden and get sentenced to 3 years in prison? And then when Don Lemon violates Part B of the same statute, does he get off just because he had a microphone with him? That there are principles, there's the rule of law, and it does apply to everybody. And you cannot have one rule for Nakima, the black lady who led that protest, and a different one for Don Lemon because he had his little microphone on while he was telling people they needed to deal with the trauma. That's all part of it, little boy who's crying. That's all part of it. Sorry, that's not the way the law works.
Well, I hate to disagree with you, Megan, but that's not the way the law works in this country anymore. You're right, that's the way the law should work. But you and I both understand there are these little communist-controlled fiefdoms. There are portions of our justice system in this country. There is no law anymore. Depends on which side you are on. How many times have you covered a story about somebody who tried to ram an ICE agent and boom, Democrat jury lets him off scot-free? Why are all those wonderful pro-lifers sitting in prison? Because they got sent into a communist-controlled justice system where all you had to do was show that you were pro-life and your butt's going to federal prison for 5 to 10 years. Whereas a communist who walks into a system like that is never going to get arrested for anything. That's certainly never going to go to prison for anything. If there's videotape of them doing what they did, they're never going to go to prison. I want to live in a country where there's one law for everybody. That's the kind of country we used to have. But because communists believe in using power to aid their friends and punish their enemies, there are portions of this country where that simply does not exist. We have judges in Wisconsin helping illegals escape out the courtroom so they don't get deported.
Yes.
We have Daniel Penny in New York City where they tried to send him to prison for protecting people. All this was done on camera, by the way. Kyle Rittenhouse would be in prison for the rest of his natural life if every single Tom, Dick, and Harry didn't have a cell phone and record what actually happened. We do not have one law for everybody in this country. I wish to God we did, but that's not the world in which we live. And if you live in a blue area, I highly suggest you mind your P's and Q's, because this has gone all the way down to the cops, the DAs, the city council, the mayor, the judges. You got no friends left.
Last one, Jamel Hill, the other night on CNN. Listen to this on the Lemon case.
We need to remind ourselves of the racial element of this. There is a reason why I think the reason why Donald Trump not only picked independent journalists, but black journalists in particular. Clearly, we know there's no love lost between Don Lemon and Donald Trump, that he's been very critical of the president. The president they've gone back and forth. But if we go back and undo all the layers of all of this, it was black journalists that were really at the forefront of calling Donald Trump out, from the birtherism movement throughout a lot of the things that they saw early before the rest of the press really picked up on some of the things that concerned a lot of black journalists.
Okay. So we're going after Don because he's black, Jesse.
I almost forgot that it was Black History Month, and you can just invent Black history now in the United States of America. Like black journalists were the only ones calling out Donald Trump. Look, Jamel Hill is it, like, if the only tool you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. She's been doing this throughout her sports career, through her fake journalist career. Everything's racism. Black people are always oppressed. Everyone's freaking tired of hearing about the whole daggone thing. She's got about 4 or 5 years left, and then finally she'll fade away and we don't have to deal with this crap anymore.
International disputes, inflation, rising national debt, digital currency. There is a never-ending list of reasons that gold has risen over 700% in the last 20 years. And a never-ending list of reasons smart Americans diversify a portion of their savings into precious metals with Birch Gold Group. Gold can thrive during uncertainty, which is why it's a crucial part of a balanced strategy. It gives you peace of mind, given all the events that could impact the U.S. economy. See if holding gold in a tax-sheltered retirement account is right for you. Birch Gold can help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold. Just text MK to the number 989898 to receive your free info kit on gold. There's no obligation, just useful information. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, consider letting Birch Gold help you diversify with gold, so you too can have peace of mind regardless of the uncertainty. Text MK to the number 989898. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.